The following is a presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports. Live from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison, this is the Chris Ash Show. Your chance to talk with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by To be a part of the show, give us a call at 1-877-384-1869. That's 877-384-1869. Now, let's go live to Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison to talk Rutgers football. Here's your host, Chris Carlin.
Another great crowd on hand here at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison for this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show. Chris Carlin alongside Eric Legrand. Eric, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. How are you, Chris?
Doing very well. We'll talk about a very special event involving Eric coming up next Thursday night in just a bit. And the head coach of the Scarlet Knights is Chris Ash, and he is with us. Coach, how are we doing?
Doing great. Glad to be here with you.
Glad to have you with us, Coach. And our telephone number, once again, is 877-384-1869. You can call in, ask the coach your question. You can tweet us your questions at Rutgers Radio. And if you're in attendance here at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison, we've got our microphone, we've got our camera set up for you. Come on right up front and ask your question to the head coach here on RVision and on 1450 WCTC. Rutgers getting ready for Northwestern on homecoming weekend. This coming Saturday, Scarlet Knights looking to snap a losing streak and hopefully get back on the right track with a big weekend planned on the banks, the Rutgers Hall of Fame. Inductions will be Friday night. Those will include Carly Lloyd, the all-time great Rutgers soccer player and, of course, two-time FIFA Women's World Player of the Year. So it should be a very special weekend on the banks. But Coach, first let's talk about some football. Specifically this past weekend, a disappointing loss down 34-7 at Maryland. Your evaluation after reviewing the tape?
Well, yeah, it was a disappointing loss. When we turned the ball over 5 times, I believe, it's really tough to win. We did that once earlier, and we've got to figure out how to protect the football and not put the ball in harm's way. And we were in some bad field position situations also defensively because of it. I thought defensively we played with outstanding effort. We fought through the whole football game, made a couple bad plays, throughout the game. But overall, I thought our execution, our effort was outstanding, and battled through some really tough situations in that game.
What are some good things that stuck out to you on the offensive side, like Pacheco on that last drive being able to run down the field? Yeah,
at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, we were able to run the ball more, obviously. But Isaiah was a very bright spot for the football team, both with his kick returns. He had a really good kick return, and then what he did offensively to get over 100 yards rushing.
Well, with Isaiah in particular, I know that somebody mentioned this earlier in the week. Does a performance like that move him up the depth chart a little bit, give him an opportunity to get some more carries?
Yeah, we talk to guys all the time about that. Take advantage of the opportunities that you're given because they create more if you do. And he took advantage of a really good opportunity on Saturday, and it's going to create more for him.
For Art Sitkowski, the numbers were ones that you probably want to burn, but for the young guy, we know that he's going to go through bumps of the road, and this was a tough one for him. There's no getting around that. How has he handled himself since? Yeah,
well, I'll start. Art is unbelievable. I absolutely love the kid. He's going to be a really good player. He is going through some freshman growing pains, and it's not all on him. And I've said this over and over and over. The guys around him have to play better, and they have to help him out. We have to be able to run the ball to take some stress off of the quarterback. We have not been able to do that consistently enough this year. We were not able to do it until the end of the game last week, and he needs some help. A couple of the interceptions that he threw last week, one a receiver fell down, and another one was tipped and it was intercepted. They happen, and you don't like that, but that's not necessarily always on the quarterback. But he made a couple poor reads that he would like to have back, and we've got to continue to help try to call some plays and put together a scheme that can help him and take some stress off of him.
Everyone has different personalities, coaching, and motivated by different things. Have you figured out what some of these young guys are motivated by yet, and how to really get under them and really keep them going and keep them fighting and stuff of that nature.
Well, I think our young players are outstanding. They're very positive. They work extremely hard. Our whole football team is that way. I get on Saturdays it's not looking like we won. I understand it, but I told our team, today before we went to practice yesterday, we had an unbelievable practice. I had a lot of fun at practice, watching our guys enjoy each other, enjoy playing the game. The young players show up every day with a positive attitude and just want to be coached. They want to go out and practice. They want to try to get better, and that's what you need to continue to build and try to improve.
When you look at how they've responded in practice and trying to do just that this week, certainly it's not easy to always stay up when things are not going your way. So how have they handled that?
Oh, they've been great. It's tough. On a Saturday after a game, it's tough. On Sunday, it's tough. Usually when they come back for Tuesday practice, they're in pretty good spirits. They're a lot better, and that's the way it's gone. And, as long as that happens, losing's tough. And as long as your football team hurts when they lose, you have a chance to get better. And these guys hurt, and they come back and they want to continue to work.
I know you try to get in the routine of things, but how do you keep it from just going over the emotions, just going through the motions and keep it at high energy?
Yeah, well, you've got to adjust a little bit, and we have done that throughout the season. Adjusted a couple of times to try to continue to motivate the guys, allow them to have a little bit of fun when they come into the building and when they go out to practice. Because if you're not having any fun doing this, you're really going to struggle to improve. I mean, it is hard work. You have to work extremely hard. Winning makes it fun, but when that's not happening, you got to find other ways to really get the enthusiasm and the energy up from the players. And I think the players have done a great job with that too.
Once again, our telephone number is 877-384-1869, 877-384-1869. A little bit later in the program, special guest this week is Rutgers Director of High School Relations, Rick Mance. And you talk about a guy with energy. He will bring it in just a little bit. He'll put on a show for us.
Yeah, be careful.
We'll have Rick up here in just a little bit. All right, so as you're moving and evaluating and looking at things, a constant positive this year continues to be special teams, not just with Adam Korsak, not just with Justin Davidovitz, but also your coverage teams as well. And two guys that really stuck out this past week were Kassan Abraham and Zahir Lacewell.
Yeah, they did a great job on our punt team. Adam Korsak is getting a lot of attention because our net punt is as good as it's been since we've been here. But it really starts with Billy Taylor in the snap. He does a great job. He's really consistent. The protection has been outstanding, knock on wood. It's got to stay that way. And then our coverage guys, our gunners, have just gotten better. We're out there with true freshmen. It wasn't so good earlier in the year, but they have gotten better and better, and you can see what they're being taught show up on film. And they really embraced the role of going down with great effort and trying to eliminate any returns. And last Saturday, I thought they did a great job.
It seems like they were right in the guy's face as soon as he received the ball. Was that any different with the sky kick, or was it just regular rolling out and kicking the way he does?
No, there was nothing different. The guys have just really improved, and it's just through reps and practice and doing it over and over again, they've really improved. Earlier in the year, Kassan Abraham would have gone down there, and he had some penalties on the punt unit, and we just stuck with him. We kept working, and right now he's playing at a high level on that unit. It's really helping our net punt.
For Korsak, how do you explain having this kind of success this early in his career? We've talked about the developmental programs that they have down in Australia, but he's really come in and has hit the ground running and has been remarkably successful in this role for having never played in a college game before Texas State.
Yeah, well, I think there's a high level of trust with the other people on the unit, too. He knows that we're going to get good protection. He's going to be, safe back there in the pocket to be able to punt the ball. And, again, it gets back to our coverage guys. I mean, Adam's kicks aren't necessarily always where you want them to go, and they don't always have the right hang time, but we've got guys running down there with good effort. We're forming a good net, and our coverage has been really good. But, Adam has steadily improved throughout the season, and his confidence has grown. And a lot of it has to do his confidence and trust in the others on the unit that he can go out there and he knows he's going to be protected.
And I noticed on one particular early in the game the other day, he kind of took a couple of extra steps before he booted it away. So is that something that he's just based on reading who's coming, who's setting up for the return, that kind of thing, that he has the option to do? And how tricky is that to do when you can also get the penalty for a man downfield too soon, right?
Well, on the punt, in college you can't. There's no rule against that. So in college it doesn't matter. But based on what the punt return team does in terms of forcing, if he can buy a little more time for our coverage to get down there, the better off we're going to be. And he's done a great job with that.
On the kickoff return, Coach, the one that went wrong, that little sky like pooch kick, is there any chance that one of the guys, the up backs, can fair catch it before, just in case one of the backs can't get to it, or was it just a freshman making a mistake, not being able to get there on time?
No, it was more of a mistake by the young man in front of him. The ball hit at the 20-yard line, and unfortunately it took a perfect hop for Maryland. It went back towards their kickoff coverage unit and not towards our returner. So it was kind of a perfect storm. He kicked it into the wind. It wasn't a great hit. He didn't mean to do that. He didn't get a good hit. It was into the wind. It held it up. It landed at the 20. Our up back should have fair caught it there, and we could have gotten the ball at the 25-yard line. Isaiah was at the 2-yard line. He was not going to be able to go up and catch the ball at the 20-yard line. It's too far to run. The guy up in front of him has to be able to fair catch that and catch it. When you watch the film, again, we got an unlucky bounce there. It went right into the hands of the kickoff cover guy because Isaiah got up there and was going to try to get it on the hop but couldn't do it.
And trying to make the catch on the run, in particular on a kickoff or on a punt, is always a very dangerous play, especially if it's Isaiah in that spot.
Yeah, the difference is the kickoff is a live kick.
Yep.
On a punt, if you can't field it, you let it go and you get it where it's down. But on a kickoff, it's a live kick. You got to go get that kick. But again, Isaiah, there was no chance he was going to be able to field that kick. The best he could have done is the ball hit the ground and it bounced to him. Unfortunately, it didn't. The up guys got to fair catch it.
And it was one that actually benefited you last year at Penn State on the opening kickoff of the game. And look, it's an oblong football. It's going to bounce. It's going to take strange bounces here and there.
Yeah. It was almost identical last year when we played Penn State. Opening kickoff, we kicked it into the wind. It got held up. It hit the ground about the same spot. We were able to recover it. So, it's unfortunate, but it does happen in windy conditions.
877-384-1869, 877-384-1869. So this week in practice, tell me about some of the areas where you've been pleased with some of the growth, some of the development. What's got you excited based on what you've seen?
Well, we continue to work. That's the most important thing. Our players in this situation really have a choice to make. They can give up, or they can continue to fight and work our tails off to try to change our situation. And that's what they've done. That's the first thing I see at practice. I see energy, I see enthusiasm, and I see guys that want to continue to work. We have some young guys. Avery Young continues to get better and better. Avery Young is a true freshman who has really improved over the last few games. He started against Ohio State first start. He has just gotten better and better. He played a really good game last week against Maryland. Very excited about him. You talked about Isaiah Pacheco already at running back. He's done a really good job. Those two young freshmen have really stood out to me.
And is it more of you putting the emphasis on that, keeping it going and keeping it work, or is that kind of the senior leadership leaning on the older guys and trying to leave their own legacy?
Well, we do talk about it as a coaching staff, but at the end of the day, it's a choice that the players have to make because at the end of the day, it's their team. We've got great chemistry, and that great chemistry, is why we continue to work. And we talk all the time, every practice, every rep, everything you do, it's a statement to what type of a teammate you are and a statement to the type of chemistry we have. And our players show up to work every day.
Our first question on Twitter, you can send in your questions at Rutgers Radio. That's at Rutgers Radio. This is from Zealot Z. Coach, I'll be there Saturday supporting the players. I support you guys no matter what. I'm a med school alumnus. Can you tell us about your role now in calling the defensive plays this particular Saturday and how that's kind of played out here the last couple?
Yeah, last week made a decision to get more involved with the defense. I talked about that on Monday. And it's just in an effort to try to eliminate some of the things that we've had issues with. We've had too many mental errors, on defense. And it's not one person. It's not one unit. It's not the same situation. It's just, 3, 4, or 5 each week that continue to come up that give us a problem. And as a head coach, I want to find out why, and I want to try to get it stopped. So one of the things we've done is we've changed the way we meet defensively. Every coach has a group, and they usually go meet and install and review the film, individually with their units. But I've brought us all together as a defense, and we do it more as a defensive unit in an effort to make sure everyone's on the same page and you're hearing a common voice and the same verbiage. And I think it's helped. The only time will tell if it has, but that's really the basis behind it. And then calling it on Saturday, I have called some plays in the past. I'll continue to call more and more. Jay will also assist in that role. I'm not going to call every one of them, but I'm going to be calling more. And again, it's just in an effort to try to get some of the things fixed.
And Coach, what is that like? Can you bring us into that? Calling plays and looking at a play sheet and trying to break it down by what their in formations and all in with a split matter of seconds. Like, what is that like? Especially seeing it down on the field and not up high. Yeah,
it is more challenging on the field, but. Calling an offense or defense for me on game day is like taking a test. If you know your package, you know your calls, and you've really studied for the test. I'll be honest, a lot of times you don't even need the call sheet. You know what the calls are. You know what your gut is in each situation. You have the cheat sheet there. The open book, so to speak, the call sheet to look at if you need it. But a lot of times it's just off a feel. What's the situation? What are you feeling at that time, and you make that call. But then you'll always go back between series and look at the call sheet.
All right, we'll take our first time out of the night. Once again, we encourage you to give us a call at 877-384-1869. You can send us your tweets at Rutgers Radio and at RU Athletics. And by all means, here at Quaker Steak and Lube, come on up front. Don't be shy. Get your question in for the coach. Just getting the ball rolling on this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show.
Best tailgate? It's gotta be burgers. And an ice cold Coke.
Real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings. Dude, subs.
Nah, hot dog.
No, Dodger dog.
I'll drink to that. Pass me a Coke. It's gotta be crawfish. Mac and cheese.
No. 7-layer dip.
Ribs.
No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
And an ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day?
Race day.
Calls for Coke.
You know it.
It's tailgating 101.
When we take care of our own hearts, we're also taking care of the people closest to us. So it's comforting to know that RWJ Barnabas Health has New Jersey's most comprehensive cardiac care program, with access to top specialists, minimally invasive heart surgery options, and rehabilitation and wellness programs. So get your heart checked. It's as easy as visiting rwjbh.org/heart. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING. This is Cabell Philpott, host of the Nissan College Football Blitz. Heard every Saturday from noon until midnight Eastern on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app. When there's a big play, a momentum change, and that possible upset happening, not only will we let you know, you'll hear the scores as they happen live. Catch all of the action as we count you down to the college football playoff. It's the Nissan College Football Blitz. Saturdays, noon until midnight Eastern on the College Sports Now channel on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app.
Welcome back to Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison for this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show. Rutgers and Northwestern this coming Saturday at highpoint.com Stadium, homecoming weekend. This is the last team since Rutgers joined the Big Ten that they had not played in the conference as a member of the Big Ten. Now, they had met three previous times, 1919, and in 1989 and 91, but never as both members of the Big Ten. So this is the last team that Rutgers has not faced. And on homecoming, all-time Rutgers now, this is the 85th homecoming this weekend. They're 53-30-1 last year. Had that 14-12 win over Purdue. And Gus Edwards had a 74-yard touchdown run in that game. And Gus got some good run the other night with the Baltimore Ravens late in that game.
Yeah, really proud of Gus and happy for him. He was a dynamic player for us last year. He was an impact transfer, did a great job, and not surprised by the success that he's had.
And when you get to coach, I know you don't get to really watch that much on the NFL on Sundays. You're breaking down the film, but do you ever get to see some of the stats of some of the guys that you've coached in the past?
I'll be honest with you, I don't. I hear about it probably more from my wife or my son than anything, but I don't get a chance to watch a whole lot of it and don't have a whole lot of time to follow up, and maybe I'll check the scores or something like that when I get a minute, but that's about it.
Raheem Blackshear also had a touchdown in that game. You look at Northwestern, who you're facing this week. Pat Fitzgerald in his 13th season at Northwestern since joining them in 2006. And they've had good success, but the thing that really sticks out is the consistency of the program. They've had a few years that were down years. They had a 4-8 year his first season. They a couple times went 5-7. They really struggled in different spots. So far this year, they are 3-3. But they have really remained consistent in kind of their vision and goal for what that program's going to be.
Yeah, they really have. Really impressive, to be honest with you. And it's what we think about all the time here. He's been there for 13 years. You look back 10 years ago, it's the same offense, it's the same defense, it's the same special teams. Very few coaching changes. You look at the coaching staff, and you got guys that have been on there for 10 years, 8 years, 9 years. There's been a ton of consistency. Excuse me, just a model of consistency for a number of years, and it's allowed them to just continue to recruit a certain style of individual, develop them, keep them in systems for 4 or 5 years, whatever the case may be. And he's done a great job. Really impressed, and always had a lot of respect for Pat.
And Coach, as you see, as times go on, and things change and programs change, and when you have somebody who's there that long, how does stuff like, do you have to stay consistent with your efforts and what you're doing, or do you have to kind of get with the times? Like, how does stuff work? Like now when it comes to you, it's different than when you were recruiting 10 years ago, isn't it? How does that change into, I guess, what goes into developing a program?
Yeah, football's no different than business. You're always trying to improve and get better, or you're not, and if you're not always trying to adjust and adapt a little bit, I mean, you've got your core beliefs, your philosophies that you are going to hold true to no matter what. But you always try to find ways to improve in recruiting and player development. Is there something that you can tweak offensively, defensively, or special teams that can help you get better based on the talent that you have? But if you're constantly changing your culture, changing your schemes, changing the profile of the type of kid that you're recruiting, it's going to be very, very tough to have consistency and improve. You look at some of the teams in this league, you go back to Iowa, it's that way, Wisconsin's that way, Northwestern's that way, Michigan State is that way. Those are just some of the ones that have had consistent cultures, consistent styles. They've continued to improve and adjust and to adapt, but they have stuck to a plan and a system for quite a while, and they're always competitive.
Let's take our first telephone call of the night. Our telephone number, once again, is 877-384-1869. Mike is in Branchburg, and he joins us on the Chris Ash Show. Mike, how are you?
This is Mark.
Oh, Mark, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. Coach asks, how difficult is it to get junior college players in Rutgers?
It's very difficult. I mean, you can go out and recruit a certain type of junior college player. There's guys that were qualifiers out of high school that went to junior college for whatever reason, and typically we can recruit those type of individuals. And then there's the other part is a 4-2-4, someone that was a qualifier, went to another 4-year institution. It didn't work out for whatever reason. He chose to go to a junior college and get re-recruited. You can recruit those. But to go recruit a non-qualifier, a guy that didn't qualify through NCAA standards, there are some extra academic requirements that they need to get into Rutgers, so it makes it a little bit more challenging and difficult because the pool of individuals is smaller.
And my last comment is Mike Turdoff last week. God, I thought Maryland held him constantly. There was one play where Maryland was inside the 20, and even the announcer said, that looks like a hold. And he just looked like he got constantly held last week. It was driving me nuts.
It was driving me nuts, too, because I saw the same thing you did. So I agree with your evaluation. Good job.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate the phone call. Boy, Mike really has been a bright spot this year because I swear it is like 10 years ago watching his brother Peter. They are exactly the same guy in terms of motor, in terms of productivity, and you see him on the strip sack last week.
You know what, Mike is, I mentioned Avery, I mentioned Isaiah. Mike Tverdoff is another one that has been thrust into action as a freshman this year. He's playing out of position like I've mentioned several times, but the kid just gets better. I told him the other day, I wish I had 50 Mike Tverdoffs on the football team. You know, his attitude, his love for the game, his care for his teammates, the way he plays the game is just outstanding. I absolutely love it. He's smart. He's tough. He's dependable. He's not perfect, but I tell you what, we know what we're going to get out of Mike every single play, and whether he's hurting or not, health, it doesn't matter. He's going to go as hard as he can go. He also strikes you as a guy that if he makes a mistake, he's not going to make that mistake twice. No, because he cares too much, and he's going to fix it, and that's exactly what he's done. Again, he's had some mistakes each game. But he tries not to make the same mistake, and whatever his weakness is or whatever the issue was, he's going to try to eliminate it.
And he, as you say, he takes on those responsibilities. He seems like a very fiery guy, too. When he makes a tackle, he's going to let you know about it and get louder and bring that energy, and you love to see that on the defensive side.
Absolutely.
Is he like that with the, I was going to say, is he like that with the team and in practice as well?
You know, not so much in practice because he's still a freshman. He has tremendous energy, and he just loves the game. And, you know, defense needs to be played a certain way. It's got to be played with energy and enthusiasm and emotion. You've got to be able to make plays and celebrate, and Mike does that. And, you know, when we get more and more guys that do that and play the game that way, it makes everything look that much better. And, you know, Mike, we've got a number of guys that do that, but Mike, man, I think is just outstanding in that regard as a freshman.
877-384-1869. Tweet your questions at Rutgers Radio for Coach Ash. Just if you can help me out with explaining it to me, because I'm not terribly clear on a lot of the rules, how things work, that kind of thing. When you're going through and recruiting players, how do you determine, or how do they determine, well, he's going to go to prep school, he's going to do this, maybe he's going to join you a year later? How does that process work?
Well, there's a lot that goes into some of that. Sometimes, you know, an individual that you recruit based on academics needs to go to a junior college because he's not going to be a qualifier. Sometimes, because of his academics, he can qualify to go to a prep school where his time clock doesn't start. You go to a junior college and it starts, and you have to stay there and actually get your degree if you were a non-qualifier. Prep school, if you maybe had a good GPA but not the right test score, you can go to a prep school, get your test score up, and leave after a semester, and your time clock hasn't started. But there's a lot of things that go into it. Sometimes, you know, an individual maybe just isn't quite ready in some aspect, and you don't have a spot for him at the moment, but you can take him after the first semester. Maybe it's best for him to go to a prep school, develop a little bit, and then come join your team after the fall semester. So there are a lot of different situations that determine whether an individual would go one way or the other. And a lot of it sometimes is the scholarship count, too. Maybe we really want him in our program, but we don't have the scholarship at the moment to give him.
How does it work for the 424 guy you mentioned? Does somebody who starts at a 4-year school and then transfers to a JUCO have to stay for those 2 years, or can they leave after a year?
A year. You can leave after a year. That's unfortunately, there are a lot of reasons that individuals do that. It could be some sort of an issue. It could be he's unhappy about playing time. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons that individuals do it, but there are a lot of pretty good players out there that went to 4-year schools. There's some that went to smaller 4-year schools, go to a junior college and develop, and they're ready to go to a bigger university.
And is it harder to develop relationships with those coaches at the JUCO level and just getting players from all over the place and just trying to get them to come to your university, and just that whole recruiting process? I feel with JUCO, it's a lot harder than the high school because of the rules.
Well, I don't know if it's harder. Recruiting in general is a difficult process, and it's really it's different, but it's not different. You still have to go build relationships and still go recruit. You still have to ask the difficult questions and find out about the character and the work ethic and the love of the game, and all of that stuff still applies there. But junior college recruiting is different, and I really haven't been at a university. Arkansas and Iowa State, we recruited some junior college players. When I was at Wisconsin, Ohio State, we didn't at all. And the institutions at times, based on what their overall mission is, may not be in a situation where you even want to recruit those type of players anyway. But there's always a need at times, and we'll do it based off of need. And we have a couple needs this year on the O&D line where we're actively searching for potential older guys and more plug-and-play type of guys in those areas right now.
Hey, did you watch Last Chance U at all?
I did ask you to see that, yeah.
You have to watch that. It's an excellent show about junior college football for fans who haven't seen it. It's on Netflix, and they just had season 3.
Did you like it?
Very interesting. Love it. Love it. If you're a football fan, it is fantastic, and it's fascinating, and it's also, you get to learn some of the stories of the kids who are there for all the different reasons that you were talking about. She's not here tonight, but she is on the telephone, and that is our friend Marie in Freehold, and she is up next. Marie, how are you?
Hi, Marie from Freehold.
Hey, Marie, how are you?
Okay, family's up from Valdosta, Georgia, from Moody Air Force Base. That's why I'm not there tonight.
Gotcha.
My question is about Northwestern and some of their tendencies. I did catch one of their games, and they have an unusual snap count, especially on third and fourth downs, that has been very successful at drawing people offside. And there's actually been quite a few articles written about them with regard to that. What are we doing to be prepared?
Well, again, a really good evaluation by you to pick up on those things. At the end of the day, it is about discipline, and it's about reading your keys and not moving until your key moves. A lot of times, people get caught up into to different, voice commands and things like that, hard counts, so to speak. But you got to have discipline to be able to see the ball or see the man that you're on and not move until he moves. And they've done a really good job of getting some people to jump. And we've got to have discipline because, unfortunately, that's been an issue that we've had a few times, too.
Okay. Hopefully we've learned our lesson with that.
I hope so. We need to because those penalties in those situations kill you.
Thanks, Marie.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. We will take a time out. First, though, want to tell you about a special event that is next Thursday night. It has become an annual event, and it is absolutely fantastic in supporting our friend Eric and Team Legrand and the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. Is this number 6?
Year 6.
Year 6 of this event that is put together by Jason Newcomb and Ron Garuti Jr. from New Roads Financial. They're both terrific Rutgers supporters. They're Rutgers guys, and they put this together with Eric several years ago, and it is at Fiddler's Elbow next Thursday night, October the 25th, and it's titled An Evening with Eric Legrand. And you get a chance to come support Team Legrand. There are so many great auction items that are available, and really, Eric, more than anything else, you get a chance to talk to a lot of the folks and give them a sense of all the different research that's coming on in spinal cord injuries. And for folks that didn't realize, it was yesterday that was the 8th anniversary of your injury at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, it was. Yesterday was the 8th anniversary, and it always looks like a time of reflection and all the great things that have happened. And as we're coming up now on year 6 of this event, it's truly amazing to see the people that continue to come out. But we have some amazing silent auction items, and then UMC and the live auction is that's just the show in the making right there. With Chris, don't think that Chris doesn't know what he's doing now. He knows how to get in people's pockets, and we do a great time. We have a lot of fun with it, and as you said, we get to update people on the research, and you get to. I did start something new last year. I have a lot of friends in the spinal cord injury community, but people don't get to really see them. So I want to bring them out and let them share their stories with you because the spinal cord injuries, they don't discriminate from anybody. It can happen to anybody at any given time. So I let people share their stories and show where they're coming from, their walks of life. And like I said, the research that's going on now with the spinal cord, with the epidural stimulator, with the Christopher Dana Reeve Foundation, it's amazing. I'm telling you, Chris, we're going to be out of these wheelchairs very soon.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. And that is next Thursday night, as we said, at Fiddler's Elbow Golf Club, right off of 78. For tickets, go to give.reeve.org/newroads. Give.reeve.org/newroads. We hope to see you there. next Thursday night. And Bart Scott, Maggie Gray, and myself will be doing our show there next Thursday afternoon as well to help promote the event. We're excited for that.
That's awesome.
All right, we'll take a timeout. When we return, Rutgers Director of High School Relations, Rick Mantz, will join us here at Quaker Steak and Lube. You're not going to want to miss this.
Stay tuned.
On 1450 WCTC New Brunswick and on RVision, you're listening to The Chris Ash Show.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison. 732-777-WING.
When we take care of our own hearts, we're also taking care of the people closest to us. So it's comforting to know that RWJ Barnabas Health has New Jersey's most comprehensive cardiac care program, with access to top specialists, minimally invasive heart surgery options, and rehabilitation and wellness programs. So get your heart checked. It's as easy as visiting rwjbh.org/heart. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
At Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, caring is more than a job. It's our responsibility as a business leader and as citizens of this state. Through the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey, we're committed to working alongside those who share our goals. We're caring for our neighbors by supporting programs that help them manage important health issues. We're connecting people with health education that's easier to understand and accessible to all members of our diverse communities. We're creating inspiration by supporting arts and cultural programs that entertain, illuminate, and enrich the lives of our citizens. By sharing our time and resources, we aim to be not only a better company, but a better member of the communities where we work and live. Visit us at community.horizonblue.com and learn more about how the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey is working to support organizations that make New Jersey healthier.
Time now for our upcoming Rutgers athletic events for you. It is presented by MGM Resorts. We've got a lot of action on campus this weekend. Rutgers women's volleyball taking on number 4 Penn State Saturday, 7 p.m. at the College Avenue Gym. We hope to see you there. A big thanks to MGM Resorts for sponsoring our upcoming events. As a proud partner of Rutgers Athletics, MGM Resorts invites you to visit the Borgata and have a night of endless laughs with Bill Burr or hear the talented Vic DiBitetto on October the 19th. Visit theborgata.com to see all the entertainment experiences MGM Resorts has to offer. We're back at Quaker Steak and Lube on Route 1 in Edison for this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show. Chris Carlin, Eric Legrand, now joined by Rutgers Director of High School Relations. And you talk about a guy that's synonymous with high school football in New Jersey over the last several years. That guy is Rick Mantz. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing real well. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
He has coached some pretty good ones.
Been very fortunate. You can't complain.
Sean O'Hara, Mohamed Sanu.
You got it.
You've coached at Passaic. You've coached at South Brunswick. You've coached at Hillsborough. Where else am I missing?
No, those are basically the stops. And then I got a call from Chris Ash asking if I wanted to join this Rutgers extravaganza. And I was excited. And I still am. You know, believe it or not, I love my job. I still do. A lot of good things are happening. And we're going to keep fighting and scrapping and get this thing where it needs to be.
And Coach, what's it been like now on the other side of things as instead of coming up with game plans to stop the high school coaches, now meeting with them and developing just not developing, continuing a relationship now with them on the other side and trying to convince, their kids to come here?
It's been great, Eric. I'm really, really lucky. I've had, a lot of friendships over the years, and I like to think that I won enough games as a high school coach to earn people's respect, but yet I didn't beat guys bad enough to alienate anybody. They've all been great, and I think they felt excited. When I got the job with Rutgers, they felt like one of their own was in the house, was in the door, and they felt like the fact that they could call me, that they could text me if they needed something, that was very, very important to them. And what impressed me most when I first got the job was how willing Chris was to understand what was important to those high school coaches. He knew that my coming on board was going to be an important step, but more importantly was, all right, what do you do with that information? Rick can open up some doors. What do we do, once those doors are open? And he and the staff did an amazing job of getting out and meeting the high school coaches. They embraced them, they listened, and that was the one thing that I got a lot of feedback from the high school guys, how much they respect and appreciate Chris's honesty. He's not a BS guy. He's not going to dance around. He's going to tell you straight up where he is, and he's done a great job, I think, of getting those guys to believe in what we're doing.
When he first got here, how did you characterize New Jersey high school football to him?
It's hard. I mean, he heard a lot of stories. Obviously, it's the reason he wanted to bring somebody on board who understood the culture. Chris from Iowa was a bit concerned. Am I going to blend? And we introduced him to many of the New Jersey high school coaches. It was funny. The first week he was here, it was like something out of The Godfather. We set him up with the 5 families in North Jersey. We set him up at a place called Reds up by Giant Stadium, and he met Nunzio from Bergen Catholic and his brother Vito from Seton Hall Prep, and we got them all in one big room, and of course Greg Toll and all the guys. He wanted to meet some of the big players, and we sat everybody down, and he said, look, this is my vision, this is what I'd like to do, but I need your help. And I think they all felt right away that this is a guy we can trust, this is a guy that we can respect, and he ended up having a couple of scotches with Greg Toll, and by the end of the night I feel that they trusted Chris, and I thought that was a huge step in getting their respect. And they still call, they text, they want tickets, they want us to look at their kids, and Chris and the guys have been very receptive.
And what's the day-to-day like, I guess, for you now when you have to develop with the coaching relationship? I know you try to talk to them as much as possible, but you also don't want to nag each and every day. So what's a day like for you, day to day?
It's interesting. I'm one of the most unsocial social media guys. When I got on board here, I had like 4 people that followed me on Twitter and 3 of my family. And now all of a sudden I've got 7,500 people that are checking out, Rick Mance on Twitter. And I'm thinking, gosh, it's not that I'm so
you're
sexy.
Really promoting the Rick Mance brand right
Well,
here.
it's ridiculous. But the fact is everybody's, they're sending me a text message, they're sending me a direct, hey, coach, I got a guy, coach, my nephew, a coach, I got these recruits you got to take a look at. So a lot of the day is we go through all those kids. I look at them myself. We forward them to the recruiting staff. And that's something that Chris was very adamant about. And I felt important too, because I would hear those stories over the years. Hey, I sent Rutgers this kid and they never followed up. And I sent him a name. We sent him a tape. The kid ends up playing in Oregon. Why didn't Rutgers follow up? Since I've been there and since Chris has gotten there, we follow up. We look at the film, we get the transcripts, and that's a big part of the day. Do I get frustrated because I'm not coaching anymore? Absolutely. Chris yells at me all the time. Rick, you can't get us in trouble with compliance. You get away from the offensive lineman. You're not a coach. You can't turn that off. 35 years, you can't turn that off. But I do love my job. Every day, being in that office, being around those guys, it's a challenge right now. There's no doubt. But the energy and what we're trying to do, I think, is important, and I'm excited.
Rick Mance, Rutgers Director of High School Relations, joining us here on this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show. Take me back to your coaching days in high school. What did you envision the role of the high school coach was in the recruiting process?
I always felt it was important for us to be proactive with the kids, and a lot like we're doing at Rutgers. It's not just about helping the kids become better football players, helping the kids become better kids. Making sure that academically the kids were squared away, getting them to understand early on that, hey, your grades, your freshman year count. All 4 years, guys, matter. So get those kids squared away with their core courses, helping those kids throughout the entire process, making sure as they get older, and again, I'm dating myself, but back in the day before the internet, before Huddle, you were actually putting videotapes together, mailing them out to schools, reaching out to the colleges, sending them the kids' contact information. Those were all certainly things that we felt we were responsible for as coaches. Packing kids up and taking them on recruiting trips. We'd make sure that every one of our kids visited Rutgers. And I was fortunate. We had Sean O'Hara, as you mentioned. I had a kid named Sean Mayer that ended up going to Penn State and played in the league and got a Super Bowl trophy with the Patriots. Jared Jones, a talented kid, ended up going to Syracuse. But getting those kids the exposure, and again, not so much those 1A kids that were going to be scholarship kids. The challenge is all those Division III kids that you have and those Division II kids that might get a chance to go to college because of their ability to play football. It's not that they're going to be big stars, but that might be the ticket to get you in. And right, wrong, or indifferent, we got kids in the University of Pennsylvania and Princeton and Colgate, and they got great educations because football, gave them that opportunity. And that was all part of the job. And back in the day, we'd cut the grass and you'd line the fields and you'd build turf and weight rooms. And I think most of the high school guys know that that's part of the gig.
I want to take it actually back to way back to what even made you want to get into high school coaching and things of that nature.
It's interesting. I was a guy that loved playing ball as a kid. Now, to look at me today, and I know this is going to be hard for a lot of you folks to believe, the folks that are in this room, and I know the 6 people that are probably listening at home with their golden retriever. You can't see me, but back in the day, Chris, I was a stubby little white guy that didn't have a whole lot of ability. And you look at me now, you say, Rick, no. I said, yes, I really didn't have a lot of ability coming out of high school, but I wanted to come to Rutgers anyway. I knew I couldn't play there, but I wanted to go anyway. Coach Burns was on staff, and I went to be a Rutgers engineer because it sounded cool, and I came to Rutgers and really thought I would be okay not playing, and I blew a gasket. I couldn't stand it. My sophomore year, I walked on. Of course, I was Rudy. I got bounced all over the place, and then they finally told me I couldn't play at Rutgers. So I started to coach. I coached high school ball my senior year. I coached at Manville High School. We had 12 little Polish kids and a goat, and it was a fun experience. We didn't have a whole lot of wins, but it was a great time. And I said, you know what? I love being around kids. I love coaching. I love, this thought. I ended up getting a degree in business. I worked in New York City for 6 months. I had a Honda Accord with no air conditioning and a 5-speed transmission. I had to drive through Staten Island every day. This is back in the day when Fresh Kills was Fresh Kills. You couldn't breathe. I mean, literally, it was unbelievable. I know there was burying bodies out there. It was Jimmy Hoffa someplace underneath Staten Island. But anyway, I spent a whole summer hating it. I said, you know what? I can't do this. I want to go back to graduate school. I want to teach, and I want to coach. And I started my own construction company, Green Bay Construction. And I went back to Rutgers grad school. Again, this is before the online stuff and the internet. You had to put your butt in a seat 3 nights a week. And so I was working construction. I would coach high school football. And then I came to Rutgers 3 nights a week. The last 2 years of that extravaganza, I was actually a graduate assistant here. In 1990 and 91, Doug Graber was hired, if you all remember. Yep. And he needed somebody that, again, understood New Jersey. And I was already in grad school. So I spent my last 2 years coaching with Doug. And I was very fortunate to be a part of that staff. We recruited a couple of guys that you might remember, Marco Battaglia, Ray Lucas, Malik Jackson, and Jay Bellamy. And it was a fun time. And Doug did a heck of a job. But Rutgers was a little different place back then. And it was certainly a challenge. But I loved coaching. When I got my degree, I ended up going back, and I coached high school ball. Because I didn't want to pack my family up every 15 minutes like these college guys do. And I had a great run, as you mentioned. I was very lucky. Hillsborough, we had a great run. We won some championships and went down to South Brunswick, and they had this kid named Mohammed Sanu down there. And
that's some battles with you guys.
They hadn't been to playoffs in 30 years. I said, you got Mohammed Sanu. We got to fix that.
Yeah.
And I was amazing. I was smart as all get out when he was there. It was something. But bounced around. Then I went to Passaic, and I don't know why, but somebody called and said, hey, we need some help. And I went up there, and I didn't speak Spanish. It was an adventure, but I'm telling you, great kids. They fought like crazy. And then I got a call from Coach Ash, and here I am.
Wow, that's a journey.
Sure is.
That's awesome.
Take me back to when Sean was making the decision. You're at Hillsborough, and he's going to walk on at Rutgers. What do you remember about the whole recruiting process, about his decision to come here?
Well, Sean was certainly not the Sean O'Hara you see now. I mean, now he's probably still a donut away from 280. I mean, he's still a big, strong, athletic guy. When he was coming out of high school, he had played basketball. He actually ran track, and he was kind of a skinny, scrawny kid, believe it or not, coming out. And nobody at that point really believed that this kid was going to be a big-time player. And Hofstra, as a matter of fact, was the only school that offered him anything. Greg Gingatina was out there, and Gardy was the coach, and they said, we'll give him a partial. And I remember going out there with Sean and his dad, and we drove back. And he said, Coach, not for nothing, I don't mean to be an ego guy, but I think I'm better than a partial at Hofstra. I think that I can play bigger football than that. And I, of course, knew the guys in the Rutgers staff, Doug Graber, and we went over, we sat down, and I said, look, I think this kid's going to be something. I mean, none of us knew exactly what was going to happen, but Sean came, and he ate, and he lifted, and he worked, and he went through the Doug Graber years. And then Terry Shea came in, and he had to, basically reassert himself and say, look, I belong here. And we all know that, hey, he ended up being a left tackle for them, the best lineman they had. Literally walked on, as it would be in the NFL, free agent contract with Cleveland, and just worked and, developed himself into a heck of a player.
And with that in mind, when you saw Sean on the field, Super Bowl 42, and you're watching that guy hold up, the visible memory is Sean holding up the newspaper saying, extra, extra, read all about it. I can't imagine what that felt like for you.
It was unbelievable. It felt so good for Sean and his family and the journey that they had all been through. And he is exactly what you would want, in a high school kid becoming a college kid. Just what we'd like to have our Rutgers guys be like today. Yes sir, no sir, whatever you want him to do. Quality person. When he was inducted into the Rutgers Hall of Fame, his dad made the speech and reminded all of us, Sean's a Hall of Fame kid. He's a Hall of Fame person. And then Rutgers just acknowledged his football success. But just so proud of him.
Last one. Just as you talk to kids now, what do you sell about Rutgers?
I believe in this place. I just like everybody in this room, I'm a fan. I grew up here. I know Rutgers, and I know what it has to offer. And it really is a special place. It's a unique place. We've got this large school, 38,000 undergrads, like some of the other guys in our league, but yet we're so unique. If you're a city kid, you can come and live on College Ave, and you can jump on a train, and you're in New York or you're in Philly. If you're a kid that wants a little more grass and some green and to see some deer, you can live on Bush campus. My son could park his truck over on Cook. There's something for everybody. You have those smaller campuses here, which is like going to a small school within a large school. I was a Rutgers college kid. Some of the guys were Cook college kids. It's still those campuses, even though we're no longer those small colleges on paper. It has a lot to offer. I believe in Chris. He is the most focused, disciplined guy you're ever going to meet. What we're doing here, the support from the alums and the donors, the facilities, you guys have seen in 2 years the way that the practice field and the everything in the Hale Center, the weight room, the commitment that we've
The
made.
locker rooms that are coming.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And hey, I'll be the first to tell you, believe me, I'm as frustrated as anybody here. It looks like on Saturdays we picked up 11 guys at McDonald's and say, hey, what are you doing this afternoon? Let's play some ball. There's been some tough times. I've done this for 35 years. I've never seen some of the stuff that we've been going through. You talk about a perfect storm. I mean, great kids. Like Coach said, they work their tails off. They're focused. But we got some young guys, and they're struggling. And they're pressing a little bit. We all know that. I'll see them catch balls in practice constantly. And then they go out in the game, and it looks like, they're catching with their feet. It's frustrating. But the kids are trying. The coaches are trying. Chris is focused. He's never batted an eyelash. And we're going to keep fighting.
He'll be doing 2 shows later tonight down at the Stress Factory.
You got it. Tip your bartenders. We'll be here till Tuesday.
It's a 2-drink minimum. Rick, thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll come back with Chris Ash in just a moment. That's Rick Ash, Rick Mans, Director of High School Relations at Rutgers. Stay with us on the Chris Ash Show.
At Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, caring is more than a job. It's our responsibility as a business leader and as citizens of this state. Through the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey, we're committed to working alongside those who share our goals. We're caring for our neighbors by supporting programs that help them manage important health issues. We're connecting people with health education that's easier to understand and accessible to all members of our diverse communities. We're creating inspiration by supporting arts and cultural programs that entertain, illuminate, and enrich the lives of our citizens. By sharing our time and resources, we aim to be not only a better company, but a better member of the communities where we work and live. Visit us at community.horizonblue.com and learn more about how the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey is working to support organizations that make New Jersey healthier.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
Best tailgate? It's gotta be burgers. And an ice cold Coke.
Real football y pollo asado.
Hoops and wings. Dude, subs.
Nah, hot dog.
No, Dodger dog.
I'll drink to that. Pass me a Coke. It's gotta be crawfish. Mac and cheese.
No. 7-layer dip. Ribs. No contest.
Hummus.
What?
You need a hot grill.
An ice cold Coke.
Of course.
Football and Coke. Come on.
It's got to be Coke.
Game day? Race day.
Calls for Coke.
You know it.
It's Tailgate 101.
Chris Ash rejoins us here at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison for this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show. We got a few minutes left, and we have a question from a gentleman here in attendance at Quaker Steak and Lube. Sir, what's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Coach Sipe from Lodi. I do have a question for you, but I do want to mention Rick Mance. I played back here in 72-73. I found out earlier this year that we had a player that had Parkinson's disease. So the first thing I did was reach out to Rick, and he got me many items, a football, a T-shirt, a hat, a jersey, and you even signed a personal note. I just wanted to thank you. I want to thank Rick, and I might have to design him a personal Rick Mance brand logo for his help. But anyway, on our punting game, how many other punters do we have on the team?
We have one other punter, so we have two currently on our roster right now that we practice with.
Okay, is our Australian kicker, is he teaching the other guy his technique, or is that guy going to do his thing if he gets in the game?
He's different. He's a traditional American-style punter, a spiral punter.
Mm-hmm.
He can do some of the same things, but obviously it's not a skill set.
Right, absolutely. The other question I have about the punting, in that first punt on Saturday, it looked like it was a possibility if he ran the ball, he might have got a first down. Is there some type of a call, maybe from the sideline? Does he get a green light, or is he have to punt the ball? Can you answer that?
Well, we are on the radio, so I don't like to give away any secrets.
I understand. I understand.
That's always an option, but no, he doesn't have the green light to do it.
Okay. Keep up your attitude.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. We'll take one more quick timeout. We'll get a call in before we wrap things up here at Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison on this week's edition of the Chris Ash Show.
Traffic. It can be more stressful than that last-second Hail Mary pass, but Nissan changed the game. Nissan Rogue has available Nissan Intelligent Mobility, like ProPilot Assist, that can start and stop in highway traffic all on its own and help keep you centered. Nissan Rogue. It's a game changer. Get to Nissan, proud supporter of college athletics. ProPilot Assist is an available feature and cannot prevent collisions. Always monitor traffic conditions. Keep both hands on the steering wheel. See owner's manual for safety information.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2.50, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar open all year round. On the way to the game and need something to go? Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size. Watch all the games, have a great time, and enjoy the best wings in the USA. 561 Route 1 in Edison. 732-777-WING.
The Chris Ash Show returns after this local timeout. This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
At Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, caring is more than a job. It's our responsibility as a business leader and as citizens of this state. Through the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey, we're committed to working alongside those who share our goals. We're caring for our neighbors by supporting programs that help them manage important health issues. We're connecting people with health education that's easier to understand and accessible to all members of our diverse communities. We're creating inspiration by supporting arts and cultural programs that entertain, illuminate, and enrich the lives of our citizens. By sharing our time and resources, we aim to be not only a better company, but a better member of the communities where we work and live. Visit us at community.horizonblue.com and learn more about how the Horizon Foundation for New Jersey is working to support organizations that make New Jersey healthier.
All right, back on the Chris Ash Show. We've got about a minute left. Let's get to Mike in Paramus, who's been patient and holding. Mike, what's up? You're next.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Great.
Great, Mike.
Got about 30 seconds.
All right, so Rick Mance is there. So a recruiting question makes sense. We have some of our former great players are at schools. Mike Teal at Don Bosco, Gary Nova at Paramus Catholic, our Bergen Catholic connection. What are they saying that these kids, why don't they want to stay in state right now? What are they looking for, and what maybe are we missing we're trying to fulfill on their end?
Well, I think it depends on who you're talking about. Some kids that have a lot of options, they want to go to the biggest and the best if they have that opportunity, and some others don't. The other part of it is, some individuals just want a different scene. They want to go to college in a different area because it's their only opportunity to do that. which makes it difficult. But there's a lot of that around here. They've been born and raised here, and they get an opportunity to go, to another state to play college football. Sometimes that excites them. And the other part of it is we got to win too. That's the other part of it, and I get that, because when you win, people want to be a part of that.
All right, Coach, best of luck this week. Looking forward to homecoming on Saturday against Northwestern.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Good job by our producer and engineer, as always, Paul Schrager, getting it done for us here on the Chris Ash Show. We also want to thank Colin Osborne and Tim DeMartin from RVision helping us out as well. John Essick back in our Rutgers IMG Sports Network studios. And our help, as always, from Hasim Phillips and Jimmy Gill of the Rutgers Sports Information Department. BTN on Saturday, 12 noon. Coming out to highpoint.com Stadium. It's Rutgers and Northwestern for homecoming. We'll see you then. Take care.
You've been listening to The Chris Ash Show on the Rutgers IMG Sports Network. Join us throughout the season from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison to hear from the head football coach of the Scarlet Knights. The Chris Ash Show has been brought to you by The Chris Ash Show is an exclusive presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports.